Hello and welcome to Mediumship Matters with me, Hannah McIntyre. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can't see me today. And there's a very clear reason for that. And the clear reason is I have spent the last hour and a half sobbing. And I am too vain for anybody to see me the way that I look right now. But it's not a poor me. Actually, I feel lighter for it. And I'm definitely continuing with this theme at the moment of undoing and releasing. And at this very moment in time, I'm not sure if I have just... wasted is probably too strong a word, but I'm going to say the word wasted. I'm not sure if I have just wasted the last 2 years trying to create something that perhaps isn't my path. And I guess that I'm a little embarrassed. I'm grieving. I'm trying to learn where I went so wrong. And if I have gone wrong. And yeah, there's just lots coming up. But the overriding thing for me at the moment has been wanting it to go back to the way that it was in lockdown. And I don't mean the crushing fear and people dying. I mean when I knew that there were no other alternatives. So all I did was the work that I wanted to do for spirit when I wanted to do it and helped people. And I think somewhere along the line, I have made it too much like a business and not enough like the thing that I want to do because I want to do it because I want to help people. Desperately want to help people. And that's why I've always loved mediumship. And that's why I got involved in it in the first place. And I need to find a way to go back to that. And I think that's perhaps what I'm learning right now with another year of not making a profit, with my reach on social media virtually ground to a halt, not quite, but pretty slow. My podcast slipping down the charts. I think that's what that's for. It's a bloody tough lesson. But maybe it's going to get me where I need to be. So I'm really grateful to all of you for just keeping me going through this. Your messages, your emails, your comments have been a tonic for my weary soul. Oh my God, listen to me. What a bleat. I'm actually feeling pretty good with it. It's just really hard to put into words. I'm feeling like I want to go back to doing things because they feel right rather than because I feel like I should. And I think part of this is to do with that social media thing of getting tied up in a machine's algorithm and pulling myself back to me and wanting to reach the right people at the right time. So here we are. It's definitely interesting, and I'm definitely, falling through an abyss, but a good abyss. It feels better. It feels lighter. So I wanted to start today. Now I've finished bleating about my journey. I wanted to talk to you all about alignment episode because, there you go. I'm going on YouTube and I can hear myself talking back to me. I have had some amazing comments about this alignment episode, and I'm really glad that so many of you have got involved. It really is fantastic. So let's read some comments. A Channel for Spirit commented on YouTube and said, I've just hit play. Listening to you talk about social media, I've deleted Facebook off my phone. I'm stressing every day about being visible, but it isn't generating any clients. People are finding me through other ways, mostly via the popular search engines and recommendation. Sending you lots of love, Hannah. You are being heard and we appreciate all you do. From Susie. Then, Vegas Redhead said, listening to this on my way to work, as I do with every new podcast. Thanks for messing up my makeup from all the tears, Hannah. Sorry. Being so real and so honest is what makes you so exceptional. Life in general is just frustrating these days. It's sad that just when spirituality and looking to our guides and loved ones could help so much, there seems to be a loss of interest. I do feel this is temporary. As for the oversaturation, those that aren't willing to continue to better themselves will fall away and the exceptional ones will come out all the better for it. Hang in there. We love you. Bridget Cox on YouTube also said, I absolutely loved Kate's email. It was beautifully written. I'm so glad you made such an impact on her son's life, and I totally agree. I don't think you give yourself enough credit. I say you should make yourself a folder, add all the praise reports, thank yous and appreciation posts, and save them to look back at when you're questioning if you're making a difference, because you certainly are. I feel like sometimes when I think I want something and it doesn't work out as I had hoped, it's because something is lining up that better fits my purpose. I hate that the publishers seem to forget you, but maybe there is a reason for that. I believe you spoke about self-publishing another day, but there could also be something better in the works that would be even better if that doesn't work. I've seen crazier things. And the world has a funny way of working out right after they laugh at your plans. I've also been working on my automatic writing, and I feel like Spirit is telling me, the most impatient person in the world, to be patient and know the answers are coming. I absolutely hate it, but I'm trying, lol. Maybe sometimes we really aren't meant to know yet. I need to stop and absorb what I'm currently learning before I move on to the next book, podcast, video, whatever. Sorry for rambling. Love your videos. Then James commented, Hi Hannah, I've just joined your course and I'm loving it. I think alignment is when we are following the path that we have chosen and we are learning to be what we are meant to be, which will make us feel happy. I know from personal experience that I had to go through a lot to be at this point, but I think my past brought me into alignment now. I needed the experience I had with drugs, homelessness, pain and feeling unloved to have true empathy with people I will try and help in the future. There is an undeniable feeling where you are in the flow. Flow and alignment, I think, are very similar, if not exactly the same. And I think that synchronicity is a sign of alignment. I love that, James, actually. And thank you for sharing your story. But actually, there is that feeling, isn't there, where you just allow yourself to be carried. Now, we can still discuss within that where you're being carried to, the place that your ego/human wants to go to versus the place that spirit are taking you to for your evolvement and growth. But I still think that's the same thing. And then Welder31 said, Hi Hannah, love your podcast too and think you are making a difference to lots of people. Maybe not in such a huge way like Kate's son all the time, but even the people who are feeling better in small ways after listening to you is helping their alignment and raising the vibration of the planet bit by bit. I also listen to Abraham Hicks and Dolores Cannon, and my mind is regularly blown by them both. I was using Abraham's method to try and get a promotion by doing all the things you talk about, but I didn't get the role. I think maybe I was creating resistance to it in some way, but maybe my higher self knew that it wasn't right for me and there was something better and more aligned with what I actually do want in the future pipeline. I am also like you, where I'm impatient and constantly question and think all about all these things, but I think that Abraham is right when they say alignment is about feeling good emotionally. I just listened to one of their videos saying that you should not be too specific when asking for things, but just get in alignment by saying you like the feeling you are part of the divine and you enjoy living and experiencing on this planet. But then other times the manifesting ones tell you to be specific, or you only get half of what you wanted. Like if you ask for a new romance with a wonderful man with all the qualities you want, they may well come along, but they may be already married, for instance. I find it all confusing and amazing at the same time. We just have to keep testing and practicing, I suppose, and eventually some of it may become clearer. Keep on keeping on. I love the discussion too. Love, Joe. I mean, exactly that, Joe. Exactly that. And I think that sometimes there are things that we want for our humanness that perhaps aren't in alignment with our souls, and so therefore we won't get them. Talking about publishing, I think I wanted a shiny book deal with a big, well-known publisher, or any publisher as it ended up being, so that I would feel validated, so that I would feel like it was a rubber stamp telling me my book was good enough. And actually, maybe my soul knows that my book is good enough. Maybe my soul knows that the fact that I have a different view to mediumship means that I'm never going to find a publisher that will understand what it is I'm trying to sell, because it's too far removed from the status quo. And therefore, the only option for me is to self-publish, but that means that I get to say exactly what I want to say without it being edited and changed and watered down and shifted. I will keep the rights to it. So I think that a lot of what I'm going through at the moment is the undoing of what my ego has done to my path. Sucks to be me. Bloody hell. Actually, it doesn't. I have a very nice life. This is the crazy thing. When you do your accounts and you realise that you could have essentially not worked for the last year and just baked bread and made soup and frolicked in the garden and been less of a miserable goat to your husband and spent more time with your kids and still have come out financially in the same space. Like, that is a brutal but perhaps very necessary lesson. And just like Susie said, maybe it's about holding on to your power and maintaining it and deleting the social media and knowing that the right people will find you. I don't know if I'm brave enough to delete it fully, Susie, but you have motivated me to take it off my phone once more. So thank you for that. Blah. Okay, I've got some emails as well, all still about alignment. I think this is going to be alignment part 2, today's episode. And I cannot express enough how much I am loving everybody getting involved. Like, this is like my dream, is everybody giving me their opinion and us all working through it and redefining for ourselves what we feel the journey is about, and taking the lessons of the teachers that are out there and adding our own experiences and our own takes to it. And this is where the newness is. I love it. Okay. First up is Magdalena. Dear Hannah, thank you so much for the alignment episode. Oh, here we go. Well, I think the general question is, what does our ego want and what does our soul want? Funny you should say that, Magdalena. See, this is what I do. I print out the emails and I read them to you guys live, and that's really hilarious. There's the bit of proof for you. Sometimes we tend to be impatient. I know that you are trying to get your book published, so I have a publishing story for you. When my first book got published, so many things went wrong that I could write a book about this alone. I found a publisher and was over the moon. Everything felt aligned and was just wonderful. But then things started to get difficult. Actually, nothing worked as I had expected. Not a single part of the publishing process went smoothly. It was a nightmare. We were far behind in our schedule, and I helped out wherever I could, although it was actually not my job as an author. I even helped out in design and typesetting. Admittedly, I did have basic knowledge of the publishing software before, as I had worked in an advertisement company, but I'm not a graphic designer. I was clueless, but I had to learn, and to learn fast. The process was very unprofessional, and it dawned on me that I might have made a big mistake. The first edition even had to be printed once again because of a technical problem with the book cover. Really, everything that could go wrong went wrong. It was a very strange situation. It was basically a crash course how to not publish a book. After the book was finally published, I had a major fallout with my publisher. The book was not available in major online shops as expected. I was very unhappy and told him so, to which he replied, "If you think you can do a better job than us, you can do it yourself on your own." I looked him in the eye and replied, "That's what I will do," stood up and said goodbye to him. He certainly didn't expect that, but I didn't either. So there I was. After so much work, everything seemed a failure. I had to start again. It kept me wondering, why did it feel so good at the beginning? And it made me question my intuition. I did publish my book again, on my own this time. I founded a small publishing company in the process. And now, fast forward a couple of years, I still have my publishing company, although my main work is being a medium. I have translated and published some great books in Polish, the Christina von Dreyen books. I would have never thought of this idea to become a publisher of Christina's books. They just happen to be in my top 10 list of favourite books. But after I had learned so much in this first catastrophic publishing project, the opportunity somehow presented itself. The books are very uplifting spiritual books, and I never would have dreamed of this, that me, as a completely inexperienced publisher, would get this opportunity. But it worked out. Not in a million years would I have thought that all these horrible experiences would merge into this. Spirit knew from the beginning. The lessons were hard, but I learned all I needed to proceed. Yes, there were still problems. Spilt coffee on laptops before deadlines, broken printing machines, and once when I called my printing partner, one of the machines started burning. So things do go wrong, but this does not always mean that our path is wrong. It still amazes me how the adventure with the books turned out in the end, and how it in turn influenced my own path as a medium. Also, something I hadn't planned, not consciously at least. I think when we feel this alignment with our soul, when we are fascinated by something and our heart is full of excitement, our why am I doing this is strong enough to overcome the obstacles. But there are obstacles. Only some online coaches don't admit it. Even with mediumship, there are times when I think, why am I doing this? Sometimes things can be hard, people are not always fair, and it is exhausting. And then I remember why I am doing this and find the strength to go on. So I think sometimes alignment can be hard lessons too, and maybe we will have to wait a couple of years to understand their value. And remember why I am doing this really helps me. At the end of the day, it is people we can touch with our work, the healing mediumship can bring. Thank you so much for your wonderful podcast. Your fan, Magdalena. I think you are exactly right, Magdalena. And it's so funny that I'm reading out this email when I've kind of come to this realization myself. And I'm remembering that the thing that makes me different from a lot of the noise out there, not from you listeners, but from a lot of the noise in the spiritual community out there, is the why. And I want to do this to help people. That was always how it was for me and always how it will be for me. The reason I started this podcast is because I wanted people to understand how it really worked and not be taken in by charlatans. And I guess in that sense, if I was to work with a publisher, I would be giving away that why. And you know what? It's really funny because I was talking to my husband at the weekend and I had drunk. Oh, I've fallen off the non-drinking wagon, guys, by the way. I did 4 months sober and then I had 2 weeks of non-stop migraines and I thought, fuck this. There's no good alternative for red wine. And I have a newly found appreciation for how bloody delicious red wine is. So yeah, I did 4 months. I tried. It didn't have any discernible improvement apart from the fact that I felt a bit clearer. But I think that was also the start of the great shed of energy that I'm going through. So, you know, anyway, I drank some red wine and I was talking to my husband and I said to him, the thing is, there was nothing in that fair that was actually in alignment with the spirit world. And then I think one of my students, who I'll keep anonymous because it was a message not in a public forum, said that they had been there and they found the event soulless. And that was like a little key to me of, you could do better. You could do something that's more in line, that's a better representation for what the spirit world is, that does help people who have their little businesses to get sales and reach a wider audience. But it also is a good representation for the spirit world. You know, if you're a muggle and you go because you're free that weekend and it's up the road from you and you're just starting to bud your interest, I think that might have cut you off. So, and my husband just went, oh, there's a surprise. We've come around to you doing it, have we? And I went, yeah, it looks like it. And I actually think that is what all of this has been about. It's been that reminder that if I want to keep it in alignment with me, I'm going to need to do it myself. Bloody hell. Right, then I've got an email from my lovely Amanda. Good morning. Ironically, isn't it ironically? Ironically, once we were aligned, I started to record a lesson on alignment this week. And just before listening to today's podcast, I'd been making notes on this exact subject. I may send more than one email as I learn more because I'm getting more clarity on this all the time. But from what I know at this moment, alignment is living your life true to you. Not your mind, but your soul. Our minds are just for processing and observation. They are not for decision making. Our bodies are for that. Now, when we make decisions following our feelings, and these will be different for everybody, the tough times, the contrast is easier to swallow because we were being true to ourselves. I don't know about you, but when I've made decisions using my head, I've been doing what is expected of me or through pressure, whether that be because of general society or my conditioning, and there's been an element of regret or blame if things haven't turned out how I wanted, hoped or expected. I've only had myself to blame, and actually the more I'm making decisions with my spleen, which is my energy type in human design, the better they're sitting with me, and in fact they don't feel like decisions anymore, it's just my path. Problem starts when we bring other people into it because that changes things. Just because something is right for one doesn't mean that it's right for another. This is when we start using our head because so many of us live for and by other people's expectations. The more we live to our true self alignment, the easier things become, the less resistance we feel. And when we do come across these tough times, we can approach them with an excitement because there's a lesson within it and we're going to evolve and also decondition. Getting into alignment is clearing out the conditioning that you've had. Law of attraction, there is an element to this within living true to yourself, but you've just got to know what your personal decision maker is, your inner authority, and then you'll find that you attract things that reflect that. To be continued. I tell you what, guys, isn't it funny? This isn't what I was going to cover on today's podcast. I was going to leave alignment running for a bit longer. I mean, I'm sure we'll visit it again and record something else. I wanted to talk about energy keys. That'll be coming. And as I sat down, I don't even remember how I ended up doing this. I've just ended up reading out the emails and talking about it. I've got them printed out, and I feel like finally this is the universe just going, have you got it? And I think at this moment, maybe I'm starting to get it. I can't guarantee that my conditioning won't override. And the thing is, I would like to blame society or conditioning, because I guess that conditioning is the circumstances of your life. The fact of the matter is, I have just forgotten the why I got into mediumship in the first place. And I didn't start this to make money. I started this to help people. I started this because when my grandfather came through my work colleague, and I'd never even thought of going to a medium or seeing a medium or anything like that, I was so lost and so disassociated with life and feeling incredibly guilty because I'd had children because I wanted them, but I didn't necessarily feel like it was a good choice for them to bring them into this world. I think it was such a gift to me. It changed my entire life. It gave me hope when I hadn't had hope for all of my adult life. It gave me hope. And I want that for as many people as I can possibly reach with it, and the right people. And I think I've got tied up in money and likes and views and shares and wanting validation desperately. And I'm moving back to my soul. And you guys are helping. These emails are helping. Right. Next up, a lovely email from my dear Juan in New York City. Hi, Hannah. Honest to goodness, I can't get enough of your transparency and realness on your podcast. It's so needed. And what fellow listener Kim shared is true. You're impacting lives because you've impacted mine. I've shared previously that you were one of the first resources I found when I discovered my ability. Your note on law of attraction... Sorry, Juan, I'll put my teeth in. Your note on law of attraction in your alignment episode brings up such an important point. Here's my personal take on it for what it's worth. I do believe in manifesting and visual prayer. I believe we can will things into existence. However, we also have to consider the manifestation and free will choices of other people involved in any circumstances. For instance, what if in a situation involving another person, you're trying to manifest something to happen in that situation? Meanwhile, the other person is trying to manifest something completely different or opposite to your manifestation. Which manifestation wins? If one person wants left and the other wants right, which direction do things go in? They go up or they go down. There's a mismatch and it's just not meant to be. That circumstance is not meant to go the way you want it to, or that person isn't meant to be part of your journey right now. Your Georgian house example is a good one. What if you're manifesting the house, but someone else is too, and there's only one remaining Georgian house in your neighbourhood? What if the other person closes on the Georgian house? Does it mean your prayer and manifestation didn't work? Not necessarily. It was a moment for your soul to reveal that while the energy work was precious and important, this house just wasn't it. This wasn't the moment. Same with relationships, jobs, etc. I was once hoping for my interview with a top global company to land me a job. It didn't. And now I'm grateful I never got that job. Funny how things work, right? So while I do believe manifestation and visualization practice is real, I also feel it's important to consider other soul journeys at play. This is a very dramatic example. It's like praying that someone who is on their deathbed does not die because there's a 10% medical chance of survival. And then when they do pass, we feel betrayed because our prayers weren't heard. But the reality is it was the soul's journey to pass. And it's our very, very difficult part of the journey to come to a place of gentle acceptance and peace with the situation at hand. I used to listen to Abraham Hicks, and I find so much of that material valuable, but I take what serves me from that beautiful material and I leave the rest there. Keep asking the big questions. I love this email, Juan. You can tell that Juan has his own podcast, guys, can't you? Third Eyesight, check it out. It's that kind of, like, everything in that makes sense to me. Absolutely. And do you know what, that last little point there about I find the material valuable, I take what serves me. I think you're right, because I think there has been a massive evolution that Abraham Hicks were absolutely the combustion material for the explosion. I can't think, but things have changed. And so I still believe in law of attraction. Of course I do. But I also believe that you're attracting through different filters, aren't you? You're doing law of attraction for what your human wants. You're doing law of attraction for what your ego wants. And you can also be doing a law of attraction for what your soul wants or soul knows is the right path for you. And I think they are different things. I really do. So you're exactly right. And it's really funny, that the Georgian house one, because this is just, reading your email aloud has just reminded me, when my husband and I were looking for houses in this area, there was this house. I live in a Georgian house, but my heart loves Victorian houses. Now, most Victorian houses are terraced, and that's no good because we are noisy. My husband is incredibly noisy. He's got a very loud voice. Neighbours would not like us. In fact, I do believe my husband grew up in a Victorian house, and I think the neighbour's parrot used to copy his voice through the wall. He'll kill me for telling you guys that. Luckily, he doesn't listen. Anyway, we found this gorgeous Victorian house. And I fell in love with it. And it was a couple who were separating, and they'd started renovations on it, but hadn't finished, but had made choices in the house that perhaps I wouldn't have made if it had been mine. Like they had replaced all of the floor with, oh God almighty, laminate flooring, which wasn't really in keeping, but it was brand new laminate flooring. So would you rip it up? Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, we made an offer on the house, and the offer was accepted, but they wouldn't take it off the market until our house that we were living in had sold. And in the time that our house was on the market, they sold to somebody else and took it off the market. And do you know what the really weird thing is? They actually, because you can see online, we actually exchanged the same day. So we ended up buying this house, which is a beautiful house, and I'm incredibly lucky to live in it, but it's never been my dream house. And we ended up completing on the same day. So it saved them no time not waiting for us. It just meant that we didn't get that house, and we were very sad about that. But this house has been the perfect house for us. This house has got like a plastic conservatory lean-to on one side, but it's got a separate entrance into the room here, which I record all these podcasts from, which is where my clients used to come in when I used to do face-to-face appointments. So they wouldn't even need to walk through my house. This house has seen us through me having a cooking business. It had 2 kitchens in it at one time. To me setting up my spiritual business, me working in person there. There is space for me ultimately, when I do actually manage to manifest some money, to build my outbuilding that I want for running in-person groups once more and all of that kind of stuff. So it's all available. And we wouldn't have had that in the other house because the decisions and choices were already made by the previous owners who weren't trying to have the same path as us. So at the time it felt sad, but it did me a solid, didn't it? You're exactly right. Now, Kelly has also messaged and she says, "Hi Hannah, I love that you were asking about alignment and why are we here this week, as it's a subject that Spirit have been prompting me to think about and explore over the past month. First of all, I kept getting subtle hints that I should learn about my life's purpose and also about the connection between mind, body and spirit. As I started to explore the topic, I became fascinated by it all. Then the prompts from Spirit turned from subtle hints into loud and clear spiritual pokes. In my development circle, someone told me that it would be important for me to make a connection between mind, body and spirit, something I was already looking into. She told me I would come across a spiral in a body with lots of shapes in it, including a triangle near the heart, and it would be about the alignment of mind, body and spirit. Then 3 times in one day, I heard about something called human design. I looked it up online and came across several websites where you enter your birth date and time, and it combines various elements to give you a detailed description on your life purpose, how the position of the planets and sun when you were born affect your outlook on life, how you make decisions and how you physically process energy throughout your body. It was freakishly accurate, and weirdest of all, it came with a diagram of the body, complete with spiral to show the energy movement in my body, with various shapes to represent the energy centres and a triangle near the heart. It's complicated to explain it all, but basically the human design demonstrates the connection between mind, body and spirit. You are given a category for your life's purpose. Mine was a generator, which is a group of people put on earth to raise the vibration of others. It also describes how you can tell if you are in alignment with your life purpose. For generators, that's feeling satisfied with the various parts of your life, and being out of alignment is feeling frustrated. There is lots more detailed information in the human design chart about how you make decisions and interact with the world. You asked if there is a difference between being in alignment with yourself and being in alignment with the universe, and I think that human design demonstrates that they are the same thing. When we are following our life purpose and doing things that serve the universe, it creates positive thoughts, which become positive emotions, which triggers the release of good hormones into our system, which are carried through every cell of our body, which raises us to be healthy, which helps the energy flow freely through our chakras and energy centers, which raises our vibration and sends high vibrational energy out into the universe, which then attracts high vibrational energy from the universe back to us, putting us in alignment with the law of attraction. Sorry, I know that's a lot of information for one email. My brain has been working overtime trying to process it all, but it has made a big difference to my understanding of myself and my connection to my universe, the universe. I get it is simple though, really. If I'm feeling satisfied, I'm in alignment and I'm going to attract what I want. And if I'm feeling frustrated, I'm not in alignment. Would love to know what you think, Kelly. Funnily enough, Kelly, human design has been creeping in with me too. And I have put my stuff into a free website. I am a projector, I think, not a generator. And I've been working through that. But I have also been very aware that it's not been the right time for me because I was too busy trying to process everything that was coming up for me. But yeah, isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting? And I guess the only thing that I would say to you is, I think when you're talking about alignment, you are talking about things that are in alignment with your soul, which I guess is where I'm trying to get back to you, because your soul is part of the universe. So anything that's in alignment with the universe would be in alignment with your soul. But then in our physicality, of course, we can get in the way and ask for things to satisfy our humanness, which had nothing to do with being truly aligned at all. So where are we at the end of all of this? Full circle back where I began. My problem, for me personally on my journey at this time, has been that I have been trying to manifest things that are not in alignment with my soul, my journey, or my purpose in being here. I want to make meaningful and big change for everybody who wants it in spirituality. And I don't think that that will come from working with a publisher. I think I need to do it myself. And I need to go back to why I started this in the first place. Because I know that is what my soul soared with. So I'm not taking payments for bookings. I'm not offering readings at the moment while I recover, but I'm not taking any paid bookings at the moment. I'm going to reduce the number of demonstrations I do next year. And we will see where we end up. And that's all that we can do. And I guess the question all the way through is, if it's not happening for you, then is it not happening? Not because you've created resistance or you haven't followed the rules of law of attraction properly, but actually that it's just simply not in alignment with your higher purpose. That sometimes we're so stuck in our humanness, it's very, very hard to see. Still would love your feedback. If you're a bit behind and you're listening to this and thinking, oh no, hang on, I want to email and it's too late now. It's not. Always want to hear your thoughts. Please do get in touch and we will see where this crazy journey takes us. Really, guys, heartfelt thanks to all of you for getting in touch, all your messages, all your thoughts. I am the luckiest person to have you all, and I'm so grateful. Have a great week.